Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 10 after 8 o'clock and into the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. And we're looking at getting into our Healthy Friday conversation this morning. Every Friday we do that. And today, I think it's going to be quite an interesting one because we've always been able to look at some of the issues that affect us on a daily and affect a lot of people on a daily basis, but then look into them with more detail. And even as we do that today, I have to remind you that the KCB Foundation 2GRG program is connecting young people between the ages of 18 and 35 with skills and talents they need and matching them with opportunity into the business world or into the job market. So 1 million people get into the job market every year. Unfortunately, many of them don't have the skills that they need to be able to do these jobs. And so KCB Foundation, under the 2GRG program, says, let's be the connect for you. Let's train you for 6 months, finish you off with a toolkit to get into the area that you're interested in, and, top that off with a micro grant that allows you to start your business properly. It's been done for over 150,000 young people in the country so far and climbing. You can learn more information about this, www.kcbgroup/foundation, and get to know how you can be part of the program today. All right. We're looking at an opportunity to talk about migraines and what they do or do not do. And joining us this hour is Dr. Mahendra Singh, who is the founder and neurosurgeon at Nairobi Neurocare, and we'll be looking at revolutionary approaches in treating nerve pain and migraines. Dr. Singh, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you.
And good to have you here today.
Same here.
Want to welcome you with today's proverb, a proverb from around the country, actually around the continent. CT will tell you what that is, and then maybe you can translate that for us and tell us how you would interpret that.
Yeah.
Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the United Republic of Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
Today's proverb, maybe my canoe is bigger than yours, but the sea is the same. If there is no fish, both of us go hungry.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
What do you think?
You have agreed that it is true. What you I like this doctor.
Yeah.
He has interpreted and told us it is
true.
Very true. With so much of business at the clinic,
Yes.
I have learned to talk very specific.
Yes.
And don't go into proverbs. When we were getting trained in the neurosurgery, so when we used to take history, then my professor would say, don't use adjectives.
Don't describe. What is your opinion, though? What do you think this proverb means?
No, definitely it's about the survival, mutual survival, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And although you've taken me by surprise, because I'm still stunned by the morning thing that I had to go through.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was in a different mindset running. I planned I'll come here at 7:30. And then I found I have to go to my daughter's school. And then, so I think we need to coexist with each other. And we have to work for each other. So if I work for you, you work for me, and that's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
I hope I did well.
You did very well. It's better than the yes, you say. It is true.
It is true. Indeed, Dr. So even as we get into this and we're looking at, some things that we hear it all the time. Oh, I have a migraine.
Yes.
I've had a migraine. Oh, my goodness, my head has been, banging for the last couple of days. It seems to be something that a lot more people over the last, over recent time have complained about much more than before. I mean, where are we with this? First of all, can we start with that migraine and what are we defining a migraine as?
Although with our new treating methods, I completely reject the ideas of migraine because it's a very old definition and it's a kind of wrong way of looking at it. And this we could start only about 5 years back. Before that, I used to think that headache is something where we cannot cure it and we only have to manage it. And then management of lifestyle and this and that was the case. And then gradually we started working on it. We came across patients. And first to put the data across is that migraine or headache is considered as third biggest neurological issue in the world. But I consider this one of the biggest because this is so benign that most of the doctors and most of the medical institutions do not have specialized headache clinics. They because it's just like a general treatment. And when they say third large is the first is stroke, second is epilepsy, and third is headache. But I think it is underreported because you usually don't go with headaches to hospitals as much as you go for a stroke or as much as you go for epilepsy. So I believe it's underreported. It should be the number one neurological disorder. And it has also been measured that this is going to increase by millions in forthcoming years because so many people have got now difficulties with automation coming in and the entire industries will change and will be replaced. So people don't know how to find themselves into these changing scenarios and they might be more independent. So headaches are going to increase and with corporate world growth where people are target oriented, they have severe migraines. I have one of the worst stories where a patient came to me persistently weeping when she was telling me her headache history and saying that I had headache for 24 years, a daily headache. And because of headache, she was working in a mall in Qatar and she was well paid there and she could not join the job. She had a lot of absenteeism. So she was actually thrown away from the job. She came back, so husband got angry and said, you couldn't do a job, so he divorced. And then she thought that so much is happening. She actually sold her property and went to United States and UK at various centers, finished all her money, and she came back with no results. And that's when we cured her about 2 years back. And now her headache is 95% gone. And during these episodes, she could not face her children because she would shout and she would weep and she wanted a lonely, dark room. So as we delved deep into it, we realized that so many people have, divorced just because of headaches.
Yeah.
Persistent headaches. Like
Right.
now I have people who had 65 years of headache.
60 years of a headache
A daily
every
headache,
day.
yes.
So what are we talking about here when we talk about, the pain meter?
So
And if you're saying,
pain
1
meter.
to 10, 10 being the worst,
Yes,
are we talking about severe pain every day for
Every
this?
day,
What are we? What kind of pain are we
on
talking
an average, the pain meter, as you say, we call as visual analog score, which is 1 to 10. And in this score, average patient who comes to me has got a score of 7 to 9. And as I was telling earlier, why don't I believe in migraine theory? Is migraine says that your headaches are coming from inside your cranium, means skull. And skull is inhabited by brain and blood vessels. So it was hypothesized that the nerves, very tiny nerves around the blood vessels of the brain are the ones which are the culprit. Because brain as such is not sensitive to pain. And then there were theories that there is a first phase, second phase, third phase. But then they said that when you do a CT scan or MRI, it should be normal. So isn't it a great paradox that you're saying it's coming from here, but you should not see anything there? Right? So this is why I rejected. And so one day a patient walked into my clinic and he said, I hear you cut nerves. So we cut nerves for cerebral palsy patients who are very tight, they have spasticity and all that. So I said, yes, I do. Then he said, why don't you cut my headache nerve? If there is a nerve. I said, of course there are nerves which they conduct the pain sensation into your brain. So he said, just cut it. I said, but I never done it. So then I just applied my mind and I said, why can't we call headaches as neuralgias? Because neuralgia means one specific nerve is irritated because of a compression or maybe an adjacent blood vessel is riding over it. And then, so there is something called trigeminal neuralgia which we have been operating since last 20 years. I have been operating those. And so I searched and I found there were 8 such cases reported in which patient had this particular headache of only one nerve. And when it was cut, everyone had 100% result. So I cut it. And that was 4 years back. And
So do I hear you to be saying that when one refers to a severe headache as a migraine, they may actually be wrong in categorizing that headache as a migraine?
I call them now as scalp neuralgias because most of the pain is originating from under the skin, out of cranium or out of the skull.
So
and
the
we can
pain-
put our finger on them. Yeah. So I would call them as scalp neuralgias. I have developed an entire system of grading these headaches. And I have patients who have so much pain, if I press one particular nerve on their head, their pain can go all the way to their leg. So it seems highly unlikely, but now I'm discussing this on scientific forum that nerves, even if they are not closely connected in the entire nervous system, are communicating so far. And I have videos of such patients.
So what we're saying, therefore, is that when somebody says they have a headache, which is their way of describing the pain that they feel, that this pain, no, let me backtrack, that the genesis of this pain can actually be identified.
Yes, very
And if
much.
it can be identified, it means something can be done to either reduce it or eliminate it completely.
Exactly. We can pinpoint from where the pain is coming. And now we have also developed the entire theory. And although it was proven about in 2014, so the thing is, people who have got migraine, it usually starts from very early age. And mostly these people are born with some abnormal nerves. By abnormal, I mean that like we have electrical wires and they all are insulated. So when they are insulated, in brain we have nerves which are insulated by something called as myelin. Contrary to an electric wire where the conduction of information goes deep inside, in the nerves it goes on the surface of it. And so this, if there is an abnormal myelination or abnormal insulation, then a normal sensation, general sensation, is converted into pain sensation. And this keeps on going and it starts involving more and more nerves. So it starts from one particular nerve, then it goes to other branches because all of them communicate under the skin and inside the brain.
All the nerves communicate.
Yes.
So when one nerve has been sensitized to experience what we call pain, it tells the other nerves that it's experiencing pain.
It tells them that shout with me.
Okay.
It also
Right.
it asks them
Because
to
it, yes, because pain is basically a safety mechanism.
Yes.
Right? So if you have got a heart attack, impending heart attack or impending brain hemorrhage, we get a headache or a chest pain. So pain has got a survival value. But in such, so what happens that this abnormal sensation, which is pain, would always like to intensify if it's not taken care of. So it involves more nerves.
So when it involves more nerves, it now has your attention.
Yes.
And it's telling you, you really need to do something about
Yes,
this.
exactly.
Dr. From what I'm hearing, and perhaps from your studies, how much of the migraine percentage in the world is exactly caused by this? Is this the main cause of migraine?
So that's why I say that now, although I speak migraine because people understand migraine, because migraine has been in textbooks and everywhere. But now I've seen more than 1,500 patients in the last 4 years and cured more than 600 patients who submitted to my methods. And we have all of them cured, including the people, like there was one patient who had a removal of mandible, which is the jaw, and then you do a radiotherapy. So the nerves of the face and head are connected. So because of radiotherapy, a lot of these nerves were half burnt. And so they were paining, and he used to take 7 morphine tablets a day. Apart from this, he was taking 4 additional painkillers. And I cured him within 2 weeks, just 2 sittings.
So when we're looking at the causal effect of these severe headaches,
Yes.
I've heard that there are environmental triggers that would then give you a prolonged severe headache, which many have called migraines, which you said myalgia.
Neuralgia.
Neuralgia. Okay. Now, if there could be environmental factors, but what we're saying is that there are nerve factors here, what are the issues that are causing that compression, for example? If the compression is in the jaw, or if the compression is in a different part, what causes that? Because there must be something, or is it just natural inclination for the nerves to do what they do, to press?
I would go rather deep for this. That there was a very beautiful pain theory. Once we found some centers in the brain, the highest center for sensory information, highest center for motor execution in the brain, we were always looking for a pain center in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were thinking that the day we find this pain center, we can manipulate it. Maybe we can do a radiation to it. We can do a specific radiotherapy or cyberknife. And actually it was tried in India. In Delhi, from where I come, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. And they were doing it while I was doing these very basic things.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is that everyone has got a emotional pain mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
It depends upon how they were growing, what's their life condition, and we will never find a pain structure in our brain, right? It's something like a 3D around you. So how do you feel a certain emotion and how do you react to it? And then based on that, you can generate a tension in your mind, which will affect your musculature. Okay? And this musculature, so when you are tense, your muscles become tight.
Yes.
When muscles become tight, there are a lot of blood vessels, micro blood vessels going through your muscles, fibers, and they will get occluded. So now this entire muscle has got low oxygen. Any muscle with low oxygen causes massive pain, like a heart attack. It's pain of low oxygen in the muscles of the heart. So if some people who are tense, they will have tight muscles in their head. So it will aggravate the headache. But mostly it will come from the trigger of headache where they're congenitally, they had abnormal nerves, right? So people did Botox for such headaches. Because when you do Botox, the muscle gets paralyzed. When muscle gets paralyzed, it releases oxygen. So there is a first bout of relief. And then when patients are coming to a doctor and paying, and then there is something also called as placebo effect, that also works. So it partially worked. Partially worked because it started, its recovery started. And then they believe that, yes, I went to a doctor, I got a treatment. So there is a positive belief in people that, yes, I've got a treatment, this is the best treatment, Botox injection is going to work. So it gives it, but it was partial. Now the problem is there was irritated nerve, which irritated the muscle in an irritated person who already had tight muscles, right? So rather go to the nerve and block it so that it doesn't give wrong information, which is pain. So then the muscle will get relaxed. And so, recently, I met my wife in 1992. And ever since she had headache.
After meeting you, she got headaches?
Yes. My effect was so instant. That was a good one. So even that day she had headache. Yeah. Then I realized every day she takes a painkiller. And it reminded by my mom. And so first I thought I'm the common factor between the two. But I realized that there are so many people who have got daily headaches. And I never knew what to do, but I had this personal motivation then. And it was only till last December when I've treated so many patients, I told my wife that let me block your nerves. And she said, I have, because we are living in different countries. So, and kids are also in different countries. So she said, mine is an emotional trigger. And your injection is not going to work on me. I said, it will work on you. Because first you have abnormal nerves. So it took me 3 years to convince my own family about this thing. And I blocked that. And now it's 2 months, for the first time, 2 pain-free months in her life that she's not feeling pain. And then she believed this is not coming from emotional triggers. So I believe primary trigger is in the nerves. It is accentuated by your life conditions, which is more muscle tension.
The thing that I'm finding intriguing is the abnormal nerves. Do we understand what it is that makes them abnormal? And when we say abnormal, what is it that they do that is contrary to what they should be doing?
So there was a doctor in USA. He started taking biopsy of patients who had a very long-term headache. He started taking biopsy of them. He took their electron microscopy and then he found that there is an entire abnormal structure of these nerves, which is giving abnormal sensation, right? Then he went on to doing the dead body dissections because in US you usually go to only few hospitals and then your records are maintained. So they found out or they informed the hospitals that when the patients of lifetime headache die, we need to dissect their scalp. And then they found that there are a lot of tension bands across the nerves, or sometimes a blood vessel is piercing a nerve. Now, blood vessel is something which is very tortuous. So when it pulsates 70, 80 times a minute, and if it is going through a nerve or on the nerve, it is rubbing and it is expanding the nerve. Okay, it is hitting the nerve 70, 80 times a minute. So it creates an inflammation in the nerve. And that nerve wants to get rid of this external pressure. So it starts gathering, it starts stimulating other nerves. And that's what it does. But now, another thing that I would say, whenever patients of long-term headache went to a doctor, and if they said, you basically have a depression, that's a killer statement. I have seen so many people, once you label them with a psychiatric disorder, they are bound to live it. Understand if I tell you that you have anger issues,
they will live the
or you
diagnosis.
have underlying depression which even you don't know.
Yeah.
Now they start justifying that thing with everything which is happening around them. Right?
You know, Doc, as I got my first migraine in Form 3, and my trigger was my eyes. And for as long as I can remember, everywhere I went had painkillers. 3-4 years ago, total daily unimaginable pain. 6 morphine tablets, normal day. To this day, every night I have to take flunarizone and other medicines, I forget their names. And as Daktari is speaking, I'm almost asking him to treat me right now.
Yeah, I'm ready.
because it is such a painful experience. So let's talk practically. How accessible is this treatment? Is it? Do we need millions? Do we need it? Is it something that is accessible?
It's very, very accessible. It's very accessible. It's so accessible. And I am wondering why the doctors are not practicing it. So when I went into, and we have some national institutions in India which do great work. And I met my immediate senior, who is now a very senior professor and in charge of CyberKnife in Delhi.
CyberKnife.
Yeah, CyberKnife is kind of a radiotherapy which decides, it has got a sub-millimeter precision. If it wants to radiate a very tiny part of brain, it can do it.
It's specific.
Very, very specific.
Yes.
So this is used now to treat brain tumors which are deeply seated. So he did a presentation as in an international conference that we are doing CyberKnife on thalamus, which is the highest center for pain. And I'm thinking that, oh my God, we're doing such a big thing when it just needs a needle in the skin. So I told him, if you do CyberKnife, it is at least $3,000 of surgery or procedure in India. And right now we just got in KUTRH, we got a CyberKnife here. And it requires a very specific person to operate. And if I can train, it's so easy to do things, And so I said, I'm doing such a simple thing. And then they called me in India and I did a presentation which is available on YouTube. And after that, almost 40 doctors were around me They were like neuroanesthesiologists and neurosurgeons and thinking, why no one is thinking like this?
Yeah.
More important that is that people, the doctors need to take it so seriously that they actually go on to explain 40 minutes to a patient.
Yeah.
This is the problem and you need injections or you need a nerve stimulator. It's very simple. But that determination will come only by passion. That's what I realized in past 4 years. Most of my, like last day I was 9:30 p.m. I was in my clinic and I did 5 blocks. But to get that result, I had to spend about 250 minutes. So it's a very slow process. And in fact, in the curriculum of neurosurgery, headache is not even taught. But it's very easy to dispense. And practically everyone can have it.
Okay.
Right. It can be industrialized,
Yes.
I would say.
Okay.
Let's take a break at this point and we'll come back. We're looking at dealing with and essentially treating migraines and nerve pain this morning with Dr. Mahendra Singh. And our Healthy Friday conversation is around that. And we'll come back and continue looking to more of the symptoms and then more of the treatment and what folks should actually look out for. It is now 24 minutes to 9 o'clock. We'll come back right after this.
Are you ready to become the next biggest music star? Do you have what it takes to compete with the best of the best? Oh, yeah. And walk away with over 1 million Kenya shillings in grand prizes. Auditions are open for Kenya's Star Search on Saturday 1st February and Sunday 2nd February at the Nairobi City Hall Charter Hall from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come through and show us what you're made of. Proudly sponsored by
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are forging the next generation of media moguls driving economic transformation and shaping the future. Introducing our flagship program, the Media Mastery Course. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. But we don't stop at technical skills. We empower you with life and entrepreneurship skills. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Spice FM, the Standard newspaper, and more, you'll have unparalleled access to real-world experience and opportunities. Enroll now and ignite your journey in the heart of the creative economy. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724-468-468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
Dental Tips, brought to you by Sensodyne. Love your drinks but hate the sensitivity? Rinse your mouth after acidic drinks and brush with Sensodyne toothpaste for long-lasting protection from sensitivity.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Migraine. CT, you did have a question.
Yes, I did, because what I'm hearing is doing a tumbleton on what those of us who anecdotally understand certain conditions, just not from our own experience, but from what we think we have heard and learned. You're saying an injection. What does this injection contain, and what is it that it does to your nerve endings or nerves, so that what the sensation you have lived with as pain now actually goes away? What is it?
Yeah, so its injection is basically just a nerve block. We call them as sodium channel blockers. Sodium channel blockers. Because sodium is the basic thing which transmits an information from point A to point B, or from skin to brain, Okay.
Sodium as in simple
Yeah,
salt.
it's like just a local anesthetic. So it's nothing great about the injection.
That's what I'm saying. Sodium reminds me of salt. So you're saying
Yes. The whole of the body runs on sodium and potassium.
the entire body.
Everything.
So essentially, if I were to look at Mark and call him potassium, I would not be insulting him. I'd be speaking to part of what he is.
I try to say I'm very reactive.
No, I have left the sodium out. I'm only
reactive
calling him
in what?
potassium, yes.
So basically the thing is that when one nerve was irritated or because of whatever reason, maybe there was a congenital defect or there was a congenital tissue band which was pressing it or there's a blood vessel. In all of these cases, this nerve involved all the other nerves, okay? And a generalized headache started, but it can be traced to few points. And if you know the map of the nerve in the scalp. And the idea is just to stop it. And although I'm a surgeon, so I wanted to just cut the nerves, right? That was my interest. And so I started popularizing it and started talking more with my patients. Once I cut one nerve. And then next I got was a 15-year-old girl who was going into inter-school competition in University of Yale. And 9 months she had daily headache. And then when she came to me, I said, we have tried everything. Nothing is working. So that was the time when I was still understanding what's going on here. So when I checked her nerves, all the nerves were paining. And then now I was in a tizzy that which nerve should I cut? And then it was just 2 days before she would leave for US. So I said, okay, right now let me block the nerves. And just like a Hollywood scene where, you know, a hero is running after a villain in a crowd, you shoot. And every innocent person would, duck. Only the villain will be standing there. So I thought if I'll anesthetize all the nerves, I'll find the offender.
Yes, and did you?
But then, now it is 4 years, she's still okay. And that was a magic. And then I started understanding that maybe I was going to Eldoret for my New Year celebration. And I found that, unfortunately, there was a very bad accident and someone passed away. So much of crowd was there, but as soon as the police came, everyone ran away from there. It's like there is one offender now. It's telling others to, inform the brain. Join me. The moment you cut that information off, they forget about that nerve and they do their jobs.
That's what I need to ask this. When a nerve exists for a purpose in the body, when you cut it, you eliminate it. So if there's a function it was performing, are we then deficient of one function because this particular nerve has been cut?
No. So I have done 3 surgeries now, first of all. And surgeries are required very less in the first place, as per my experience. And this is not written in the books which I read. The guy who revolutionized this thing. So basically I wanted that, surgery is the only option or the best option. And it has got 98% success rates. So when I am doing this, then I am also understanding. One thing is that there are 10 nerves, main nerves, which will supply
in the human
scalp.
body.
No, in the scalp.
The scalp.
In the human body, there are thousands. And then they make such a massive network of very tiny nerves. It's like maybe a sewerage system, so you can have very tiny gutters in a locality. They all join and they go.
There's the main.
Yeah. So now we are going the reverse. Okay, so from main nerves, a lot of branches will be there. They all communicate with each other. And then they will start giving information to each other. So if you're cutting one nerve, nothing is happening because there's so many sensory nerves which will take the function over. So particularly for this reason, there is nothing that we are losing.
What does a surgery do essentially that will, because if we're talking about nerve compression in certain parts, if we look at a little bit into the detail of what exactly the surgery does that would stop this from happening in the future, there wouldn't be a recompression because you don't take out the whole nerve.
So even before doing a surgery, we have to decide which patient we have to do surgery.
Okay.
These are the patients who would say that I have got pain only at one particular zone or point. because every nerve has got its own area. It's a very well-defined area. It's fairly constant in all of us, human beings. So they will come and say that, okay, I have got pain in my right side temple region. Like I had a very senior official from World Food Program from South Sudan, and he had to be flown to Uganda every 2 months with massive headache. And then they give him some treatment, they admit him in the hospital. And so this patient with a single pain, I realized that, and then he lives far away, I can't do medicine on them, right? So I offered him a surgery because mostly there is something which is teasing this nerve. So usually there is a blood vessel or there is a tension band. So you have to go and explore there. And you free that nerve, or you separate the blood vessel from the nerve, or if it's a small nerve, you can just cut it. And it will have more than, so now we assure people of 95% plus of success with our first sitting. So basically when you do surgeries, you're exploring and you're finding if there is something which is compressing and you relieve it.
Right. Okay. I want to come back to the environmental factors that may affect, or other physiological issues that could bring about these migraines or these severe headaches that we're talking about. And then I'm going to ask another question kind of like in relation to that. How would you know that what you're suffering from then is not as a result of just this physiological issue that needs to be sorted out, or that you actually do have this, almost permanent compression? Because there are people who will talk about having eaten a certain thing and that is a trigger for them and they get this particular headache. I too, when I was much younger, then had the severe headaches. You have to be in a dark room for days. But this was now later that my ophthalmologist said it was because of my my eye and my retinal issues. After then, I started seeing visual aids. My migraines disappeared. Haven't had a migraine maybe in 10 years, except 1 or 2 here and there. So how do you then know that, or how do you then separate the two? If there's another physiological, some people will have a migraine that is associated with a bacterial infection, for example, that they may have. How then are you then able to separate the two?
See, as a neurosurgeon, we first have to think of real, organic, life-threatening causes of headache, like there can be aneurysm, brain tumor, increase in water pressure, and those kind of things. But when we talk, and I'm talking to the patients for the last 25 years, we also realize that patient has got, they are more labile, they are more prone to psychological tensions. But even if you have psychological tension, so as I was talking earlier about the pain theory, that based on your psychology, your pain works. See, basically, when we say, what is the behavior? So I can put it so beautifully in a neurological definition. It's either a contraction of a muscle or secretion of a gland. And I'll give you time to think, whatever emotion you want to put onto this, and it can be explained. You want to shout? Contraction of muscle, right? You want to weep? Contraction of muscle as well as secretion of a gland. Anything you put into it. So even if you want to express your behavior, even with your psychological tensions, you eventually need a muscle and a gland. Am I correct? To contract a muscle, you need a nerve, correct? Right? So all of these things are interrelated. So every person with their inherent tensions, they still have a very peculiar behavior. Or like people who say that I have got tension. Like if I'm awake beyond 2 p.m., my left side occipital muscle is going to contract and it gives me a left-sided occipital headache. And I want to cut that now myself, but I can't and I'm not finding a doctor who can do it for me. So because it's such a new concept. So environmental factors, they definitely work, but eventually the executor is what I'm talking of. These nerves and nerves, the nerves is basically, it's a cycle. It is a sensory and a motor cycle, and it works in a closed circuit. So a sensory nerve and a motor nerve and a muscle or a gland, they are working in a cycle which cannot be broken. So even if there is like a tension to someone, it will trigger the headache because the muscle was tight and it gave a hypoxia or a low oxygen to the muscle and it triggered pain, and then nerve took it further because there was a congenital issue. That's how the cycle grows.
So 2 questions. You said there is an injection, then there is surgery. Are these covered by insurance?
I don't think so, because these are the things that I learned from few textbooks, and then I started my own thing. Like, there is no gradation system of headache, which I have now created. Because I have patients who also had cervical spondylosis, but somehow it is connected to headache now, chronic headache. Some patient, if I pressed one particular nerve, it started vertigo in that patient, which was classified as vertiginous migraine. Okay?
Yeah.
And then there was no treatment for it. So I've also heard a very senior neurologist telling someone that go to your people because we can't treat you. And I didn't understand. I'm still new in Kenya. So what do you mean by go to your people? So
What do you
basically,
mean?
resorting to old therapies, you know, the conventional therapies in the tribe. So those kind of things. But it was surprising. So each day is a finding for me as well. Is that when I'm pressing particular nerve, and why this patient is getting a pain in his hand? Because they are not supposed to be connected, but the pain jumps through pain stations. And
When you say they're not to be connected, you are referring to knowledge that you had acquired previously and knowledge
can
that had
explain
been
with that
taught
basis.
to you.
Yes.
Okay? I am assuming that this knowledge that has existed from an empirical perspective, meaning some thinking, some research had gone into it, and a body of evidence was then provided from which you could deduce that this equals this.
Exactly.
And you're now saying that your practice is telling you something different, because you're thinking about it and saying, I see this working this way. But then when I try this, I find that the textbooks didn't quite cover this thing that I am
They
now.
were far away from reality. I'll give an example. They said inside your brain, there's a blood vessel which is called carotid artery, internal carotid artery, its branches. So when initial phase of headache, and this is described in few of the best books of pharmacology, that there is a carbon dioxide tension, and then, you know, there is a low oxygen, and then first the blood vessels contract because of these nerves, and then they suddenly dilate because there is a prolonged low oxygen, and now there is a carbon dioxide which is increasing in the brain. So now they are dilating, and that's why you get pulsatile headache. So they said initial phase, to increase the carbon dioxide, you should actually breathe yourself, meaning you take a poly bag and then you breathe into it in the initial phase of headache, and the headache will abort. I tried, it didn't happen. So, so these kind of theories were given, and now we know that when the headache is too much, it's basically everything is happening in your scalp, not in your brain. Right.
Doc, we've got a few minutes. As someone who's definitely going to do this, because trust me, suffering does not feel good, what are the contraindications, side effects, things that possibly someone should be aware before
of.
they make a choice to do either the injections or cutting the nerves? Because my nerves, you can have all of them, by the way.
They're giving more harm than
I don't need them.
No, you would come and I can cure you with a 95% assurance with first sitting. With second sitting, I'm saying 99.9%. I had people, several of them, they would say, I don't want to live with this headache. Even my wife used to say, just cut my headache and throw it away. Because there's so much of pain, and where do you go with this, right? And first of all, with these injections, there are no side effects at all, right? I have made PowerPoint presentations and everything, got so much extra length to convince people that the needle that we use is as good as the insulin needle. In fact, I'm using the insulin needle. Because if you touch your own head, you can't go far. It's just a skin there, and very tiny strap muscles are there, which are very, very thin. And tiny nerves, they are barely 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, right? But they're extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
So it takes just a few millimeters to reach there and block them. And of course, it requires a certain philosophy and an approach, which I have learned over the last 5 years. And now we know that there are no side effects at all. Earlier, I mean, because the dose is so tiny, it doesn't even go properly into blood and cause reaction. There are no local reactions to these injections. These are very safe drugs for at least now 50 years, which we are using. Usually it's a single drug. So there is no side effect at all. It's just that I have now known, because I'm I operate brain tumors. I was supposed to operate brain tumor today. People are more ready to undertake a brain surgery than to take a needle on the head. So
why? From what you see, why is that?
People have crazy fear for a needle. Crazy fear. I've gone to an extent, one day I thought, why there is so much of fear regarding a needle? And so I drew my own blood just to think that why does it cause so pain? It didn't cause me pain. And then it realized, my dad is also a doctor, so when he used to give us an injection, there was a fear of unknown, that when it will enter inside, right? But when I was injecting myself into my vein, I knew I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a pain there. And just then that you're knowing it, the pain reduces. So we are now talking, initially there were a lot of, now the success rates is so much that we can do it even 5 in a day, like I did yesterday. And because now I got patients from Dubai, Boston. Boston is from where modern neurosurgery started. And I have videos of these patients. That I was called by someone that you can cure my headache. And he was going to top neuro hospitals of Boston. And so he traveled here 1 year. He is having severe daily headache. Completely
Do you
cured
have
by just
consent
one
from
sitting.
your patients to video record them?
Sorry?
Do you have
Yeah,
consent?
they know. We
know.
don't use in public.
Yes.
We never use them public. It's just to convince another patient. Yeah. So definitely we take the consent. Yeah.
The thing that I am still not certain about is everything you've told us arises from patients that you've had. Are there other doctors who've had similar experience to yours? Meaning, is there a body of evidence that supports what you're saying beyond your own experience?
No one is practicing this. In fact, I challenge my patients, go to 5 neurologists or neurosurgeons. Don't say anything. Let them treat the way you are treating. If someone examines like me, or if someone tells what I'm telling, I will afford your treatment there. Right? Because, I mean, see, I have headaches. Sometimes it happens very severely at one point. And it's only one nerve I know, and it's worth cutting. I am convinced about myself. I can't go to anyone else. And it's not that it's very difficult science. We have great neurologists and neurosurgeons in this city. The thing is, no one takes that headache so seriously. All neurosurgeons are treating headache by hindsight. It is never taught in the textbooks. What we learn is headache coming from a particular organic reason, maybe accumulation of a blood or accumulation of water or some underlying thing. If that's normal, that's where most of the people stop.
What would you advise folks who may have the severe pain and it's been for a prolonged period of time and maybe haven't really gone in, but they're taking, over-the-counter medication? What would you advise for them to do?
Come to Nairobi Neurocare today. And I can cure you. Yes, with 95% surety. Because now we have so many patients that we have seen, all kind of patients, vertigo patients. Only one patient I found was not getting relief from anything we did. We gave medicine, we gave meditation, we gave nerve blocks. Everything was not working on him. So I don't want to play God here.
Yeah.
You can never be. In fact, the more you practice, the more humble you become.
Indeed.
But actually, with headache, I believe more and more awareness is required among doctors because this treatment can be industrialized because it needs industrialization. It requires spread. I am getting patients from Tanzania and Uganda and Boston and Qatar and Dubai. That means that people are not getting treated there. So, in fact, when I presented in Delhi, I expected more calls coming to me for training, but probably they are more interested in some other things. Similar, someday we'll discuss. I've also applied the theory of pain, which I learned from headache, on spinal pain. And the number of surgeries that I'm doing now has drastically gone down.
I hear you.
Yeah, so someday we'll discuss about that. Today is all for headache.
Exactly.
It's too complex, by the way. So, but the treatment is very, very easy. And you will be seeing the growth of Nairobi Neurocare in the next few years, because now more and more people are actually taking it, and once they realize it's just 10 minutes.
And it can be sorted.
Yes.
Dr. Mahendra Singh is a neurosurgeon, and we've been talking about nerve pain and migraines this morning. Thank you for your insights. And of course, always great to have these conversations on Healthy Friday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. It's 9:01.